Hello, and welcome to the InPowered Women Podcast. This is where we spotlight unstoppable women who are not only excelling in business, but thriving in life, lifting others up, blazing new trails, and making space for the next generation of female leaders. I'm your host, Sharon Lee, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. Hi, and welcome to the InPowered Women Podcast. I'm Sharon Lee with Pinnacle Strategic Advisors, and we are so glad you are here today. And before we get started, though, I want to thank our sponsor. So, Always Open Garage Doors, co-owned by Dawn Matthew and her husband, and we want to thank you for supporting today's episode. Their team provides reliable garage door repair and installation with the kind of service homeowners truly appreciate. Dawn, we are grateful for your support of women leaders and the InPowered Women Podcast. And with that, yes, I want to welcome Tomeka Thomas with the Roof Clinic. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Sharon. How are you? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you're always welcome here for sure. And we always have some really fun conversations. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. So to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. Well, first off, I'm a mom. I am a busy, busy mom. I've got a 17-year-old in the 11th grade, and I've got a about to be 13-year-old in the 7th grade. She turns 13 May 18th. So I'm a busybody right now trying to plan, wish me luck, folks, a pink and plush slumber party. Everything blown out pink. And I have a hex code of specific color pink that it has to be. And dare I deviate from that color, my head is going to be wrapped around, I don't know. So I'm in planning mode. Pinterest boards, websites, inspiration. It's got to be perfect. So wish me luck, ladies.
So somehow God spared me and I had boys, and I am a boy mom through and through. I feel like I could probably handle that, but I just think I was spared from having to handle that. I mean, and like I've got a middle schooler, and so I'm thinking these girls, I mean, they know what's what. They don't mess around. You're just like, you want to see a drill sergeant, you just go talk to a little 7th grader.
Well, I tell you what, she is her mother's child, because I received a full itinerary, Sharon, from arrival 4:30. It's just a night. It's just one night, but I have a full 1.5-page itinerary of all the festivities that will be going on. So I was overwhelmed when I read it, but I appreciated the organization of it all because it's so well thought out. Mm-hmm. And she told me, she said, Mom, I would just be done if it doesn't happen exactly to the T. So, and then she closes by saying, but surprise me though, surprise me.
Lord. And by the way, here's a list alphabetized on ways you can surprise me. I can just
tell you what, and I cannot go without saying I was expressing my overwhelm with some of my business friends at a lunch, and they were hearing me, and they said, we wouldn't mind planning that for you. I said, excuse me? It was like little birdies in my ear.
Oh.
Yeah, just forward it over. And so 2 of my good friends, I sent it over to them, the itinerary. This is easy. And one of the ladies was like, I've always wanted a girl. Let me live through you. I'm going to take care of this. And so they took that little baby off of me. So now I'm just doing what I do well, delegating, reviewing, and writing a check. Yeah. Right. Good for me.
Yeah, so like hold your heart when you write that check, because I can only imagine.
But I do have to make sure all the specifics are exactly right, because if not, it would be bad, Sharon. It would be bad.
I understand. And we want you to live to fight another day. We don't need you to go down in a big, like, I don't know, explosion of pink.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So alongside that, and then they're in track season. So we're doing that as well. So there's some other piece. And then of course, I'm a wife. So I've got to do all my wifely things. And my husband and I work together. So whatever's happening at home, we have to make sure we have a nice little boundary so that we can get to work as well. That's a whole nother discussion.
Right. Right.
And then there's business, of course. And with the weather, business is booming, but weather is not allowing us to. We've created a backlog because of the wintry weather.
Yes.
So it's like we're waiting for that nice little break of seasonality so that we can just hit the ground running. So
Right.
everything's good and everything's busy.
That's good, and busy is
Mhm.
always a good thing. Although I have to interject I don't know if it was the first time we met, but it was early on, and I said something about how did you meet your husband? Because you mentioned that you all both own the business,
Yeah.
and there's this whole little bridezilla story that makes me laugh every time I think about it. So you got to tell the story.
Oh boy, are you okay, Sharon? Here we go. Don't judge me, ladies, but I've got to share the story. Sharon loves this story.
Yes.
So I was at university where my husband is from down in Middle Georgia, and I worked at a bridal boutique. I had the privilege of selling beautiful wedding gowns
Yes.
to beautiful brides. And I did that throughout college. It was such a super cool job.
Yeah.
Brides would come in, we would do fittings. I was the manager of the bridal boutique, and I was in finals in the back office, kind of studying while the girls were up front working. And I had a bridal party. My husband and his cousin were a part of that bridal party, and they needed to be fitted for a
Right.
suit. So,
And I thought he was the groom part of
no,
the bridal party when you first told me the story. And so I'm going, wait, what?
oh
So anyway,
gosh,
so keep on going with the story.
he was not the groom.
He was not the groom.
Just there to be fitted. So the bridal party was my particular bridal party. And so the front office called me back, one of my dearest friends. She called me, she said, "Hey, I need you to come up. This bridal party is here to be fitted for tuxes." And I'm like, "Well, just go ahead and handle it. I'm back here studying for my finals and doing payroll and things like that." She said, "Well, no, I need you to come up." And she's like, "And one of the guys that's being fitted is so beautiful, so handsome." And I'm like, "Well, all the more reason you should do it." And she
Right?
was like, "Well, it's your bridal party. You have to do it." And she's like, "And you need to make a segue where I can meet him." I said,
Oh,
"Okay." So I begrudgingly came up front, did my job. And his cousin, he had a little bit of a gut. So I was cracking jokes, being friendly, of course, with him.
right.
And I said, "You got to suck it in, buddy, so I can get the proper measurements for you." And he started laughing. And my husband thought that was hilarious. So he
Right.
busted out laughing. And we got the measurements. And so it was time for them to check out. And my friend is kicking my shins underneath the countertop, like, "This is your moment to make the intro, do
Right.
what you're supposed to do as a friend." And so I'm like, "I don't really want to do this. I just want to get him paid out and get to the bag." And he slides me over his phone number and he says, "Hey, are you over at the college?" And I'm like, "Yes." He was like, "You probably need someone to help you study." And I'm like,
Probably. Yes.
"Not really." And so then my friend stomps my toe really hard. And I'm like, and she was like, he said, "I'd love to, help you study or, get coffee or something." And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "Oh, moment wasted. He's interested in you." So
Right.
long story short, that has been the running joke of our friendship,
Yes.
that she's married now, I'm married now. And she was like,
Right.
your husband's life, Eric, would have been completely different if just you had made a better call there, but here we are. So it's the running joke whenever we have couples dates and dinners and things like that, that the whole situation could have looked completely different had he made another decision. So we
I
have a
love
good
it.
time with that. We have a
Yes.
very good time with that. But that
So
is how
you're
I met my husband.
So you're not technically a bridezilla. You didn't technically like steal him from a wedding party, but it
No.
sure just feels like it, and it just makes me laugh every time I think about it. So
Not at
anyway.
all. Not at all. Yes. And we are actually celebrating our 25th year this year.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yes.
fantastic. I mean, and that is a true testament to you guys because working together, being married, all the things, parents, blah, 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 and still surviving for 25 years. Hats off. That's no joke right there. So you need to
It
like
definitely,
really blow it out and do something big.
yes, we are. It definitely is a story in and of itself, but I will tell you, a lot of couples, when they find out that we're working together, like, oh my gosh, if I wanted my marriage to last, that's probably the last thing I need to do. But I will tell you, it's not for everyone, Sharon,
Right.
but when you find that it works, it only strengthens everything else around it. If you can find a good mojo and
Right.
really understand the lanes and the boundaries,
Yep.
it works beautifully, and it just
Mhm.
makes you appreciate the marriage even more so.
Oh, well, okay, that's good. That's good. Because I've always said, don't even build a house together. So building a business, OMG, that's hitting it hard. So, but
Yeah.
now, okay, what is your business? Let's talk a little bit about the roof clinic, about like just what it is.
Sure. So the Roof Clinic is a roofing construction company. We specialize in commercial and residential roofing. We started off in residential 14 years ago, and did that hardcore for about 3 years, and then catapulted into government contracting on the commercial side, which
Okay.
then led us into private sector commercial, spanning between the two. And we cover all of Georgia, including any neighboring states. So, your
Okay.
Carolinas, Tennessee, Alabama as well. And we do anything and everything involved with roofing. So that's roofing replacement, of course, emergency repairs. Um, that would be preventative maintenance of the roof. So maintenance plans, um, emergency services, and of course, GovCon work,
Right.
governmental contracting work. So if it's a roof and it needs to be replaced, we can handle it for you.
And so I'm envisioning, you're surrounded way back when by all these beautiful wedding gowns and all of these tuxedos, and all you could think of is, oh, if only I could be sweating it out on the top of a roof right now, my life would be complete. So so therefore you've just hit the pinnacle of your existence, right? It all just fell together nice and easy, right?
That is a wonderful story, and not mine by any means.
And not-
Absolutely not, Sharon. That is not my story. Um, I have to just kind of scroll it back a little bit
Mhm.
and say, when we talk about the construction industry, period, very few and far between do you find someone that said, this was my life story. I just, I had the whole pathway set out.
Right,
This is my vision. Most of us fall into this.
right.
We met someone that was wonderful in it, that inspired us. And
Mhm.
so my story is, I started off in insurance. So it was kind of
Okay,
a lateral move, if you will, but there was some trajectory to getting there for sure.
right.
I went to high school just like everyone else. My parents had it panned out. I made good grades. I was a hard worker, studied well, went off to university, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
My major was criminal psychology. So I
Wow.
wanted to be the counsel person who studied your Jeffrey Dahmers, your Ted Bundys.
Wow. No, thank you. Okay.
That's what I
Okay.
wanted to do. I loved the
Crazy.
behavioral science around all of that.
Hmm.
So I had this whole mindset of, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a book about these people, behavioral. I'm all about mental health and all the things. And so I'm in year 4, and I go talk to my career counselor because it's time to, graduate. And he was like, yeah, you need to get a whole PhD if you're going to do that. And you
Find
need to be
time to
looking
hear
at,
that little nugget, right?
he's like, you need to be thinking about grad school and next steps, and then there'll probably be school beyond that and beyond that. I'm like, whoa, no, I'm ready to work.
I'm
I'm ready
done.
to make some money, be an
Hmm.
independent person, get from
Yep.
under my parents' wing and do my thing. I don't want
Yep.
to go to school anymore.
Yep.
I said, tell me what I can do with the credits that I've gotten. What's a lateral move to get out of here?
Hmm.
And he looks over my credits and he was like, well, you could be a social worker.
No.
And no disrespect to social workers.
Right.
That is
Exactly.
very important work.
For sure.
That very necessary work, but not
Mhm.
for me.
No.
So I say, okay, fine, sign me up.
Just to get your degree and go.
Yes, and get on the ground running. So I graduated with that, and with a minor in psych. So I went and applied for my first social working job, and it
Mm.
was governmental work. And it was like, oh gosh, I want to say like $23,000 a year is what it was
Ooh,
going to be.
killing
And
it.
that job description floored me, all the things that I was going to be doing. I felt like my life was going to be on the line. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do this.
Right.
So long story short, I never stepped foot in a social working office. I never did it. I went back to what I knew, selling bridal gowns, right? So I applied to a very prestigious bridal salon in Atlanta. I will not name names, but they
Okay.
did have their own show for a bit.
Okay.
And I was their boutique buyer. And I got to travel. Oh, because I'm a military brat. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I'm a military brat. We traveled all my life. So, moving every 2, 3 years was never an issue. It
Mm-hmm.
taught me very quickly how to learn and adjust and meet new people. So
Mm-hmm.
I did that for quite some time. Met some wonderful people, sold some beautiful gowns, but the travel was gut wrenching how much I was gone.
Right.
And on the flip side of that, my husband was also on the trucking side of things. He was gone all the time.
Wow.
So having a relationship and all of this, it didn't measure up. And so
Right.
one day he was like, we've got to figure out how to stay home. We need to find something where we're more home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that would look like. So at this time, we're not married. Um,
Okay.
I'm I have a roommate who's my sorority sister, and she was like, well, I saw this flyer. Let's go be insurance adjusters. I said, what
Let's
is
just
that?
go be that.
What is that? I don't know. This isn't informational. We should just go and see what it's about. She was in banking. She hated her job. She wanted
Okay.
to switch as well. So we went to the informational. It was through State Farm. That was my humble beginnings. And they told us about this wonderful job where we could learn how to tear buildings down and estimate building them back up. Come join our team, full benefits. Salary was wonderful.
Okay.
A great career. So we had a test for it. I said, okay,
Okay.
I guess the natural thing to do is go test. So we went and tested. I passed the test. That test was hard.
I'm
I
sure.
passed the test. My roommate did not.
Oh.
But don't feel sorry for her because she's a very prominent banker and she's doing very well now. So she's fine. And that catapulted me into the insurance industry. So I did that. Um, I started off very much boots on the ground, traveling still though, still
Mm.
traveling. And I was a catastrophe adjuster. So I bounced around everywhere, working very types of claims, Hurricane Katrina, ground zero type jobs,
Was
rebuilding.
this just Southeast, or was this literally, it could be anywhere in the United States?
It started off anywhere, but then I got a relocation to just manage Southeast.
Okay. Which is still
And
a lot of
oh
square
gosh.
footage.
And we get a lot of the weather too. So
Hmm.
yes. And so I worked my way up into executive management through varied carriers. I did not stay with State Farm. I went to varied carriers and ended up having shy of 1,000 or so employees under me, from adjusters to middle management to executive, and rebuilt vendor programs, all the things. So I
Wow.
thought that was going to be my career, but
Mhm.
let me, I don't want to tell Eric's story because that's not what we're about. But along
Right.
the way, he was able to start doing roof inspections for insurance claims. So that's important to know.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both in this world of insurance and building construction. So that's how we got the
Okay.
background in it. One day, Eric comes home and says, what if all of this is purposeful? I said,
Mm.
what do you mean? He said, I'm out, you've been out. We're constantly being recruited by these general contractors,
Mm-hmm.
these architects. We're meeting all these major construction type companies, and they're saying, hey, you're on the wrong side of the fence on this, right? And if
Ah.
anyone knows insurance, there's insurance and then there's the construction side. And the insurance folks will call the construction side, you're on the dark side. So I said, Eric, are you thinking about us going to the dark side?
Ah.
And he was like, why not? And it made me start thinking. I said, what would that look like if I were
Mhm.
to do that? What would that look like? And I started thinking about all the things that I'm constantly seeing on the insurance sides that are bottlenecks. What is the problem?
Mhm.
And constantly it is insurance claim, construction estimate, poor property owner in the middle just waiting for their check for you
Right.
guys to kind of figure out how to meet in the middle. Can't
Right.
agree. And where I found that the most is in roofing claims.
Hmm. Okay.
There would be a roof loss. Roofer would come out and write a bid. They would be using the wrong estimating software. They would be gouging prices, putting in things that had nothing to do with anything. And then as they arbitrate and argue it out, the
Yeah.
poor person in the middle is just sitting, waiting, trying to get their building replaced or repaired, whatever's needed. And
Right.
I felt like I knew enough about both sides that I could speak the language,
Mhm.
write the proper estimates, and get to settlements quicker. So while I was exchanging with my husband, trying to figure out if we were to enter this, what would it look like? I said, it would have to be roofing claims. And he was like, exactly. He said, I was hoping you would get there. And I said, it would have to be roofing claims because I could have very well been a GC.
Mhm.
Sharon, did that equally as well. But I wanted to be more niche
Mhm.
and very strategic about what area I went into. So I'm like, okay, what would that look like as far as developing this? And I just started picking up the phone, telling people what my mindset was, and they ate it alive. Oh my gosh, that would be great. We've got
Really?
these long tail claims that are running 90, 180 plus days because we can't get the settlement because the contractors can't speak our language. We're having to go back and
Right.
do repeated inspections to validate this bid. And the
Mhm.
poor property owner they're just suffering
Just
because of this
stuck.
long tail process that's going on. When are you
Right.
going to start? When are you going to start? Let us know.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So as I'm talking to people, they're literally writing my business plan for me about what this would look like, what
Mhm.
resources I would need. And I just kind of collaborated all that together. And I said, we're going to do this. And so I let them all know that I had gone into business, done all the background business paperwork, and the phone was ringing off the hook. I really didn't get any time to kind of go into it. It was like, you're here, we need you now.
Go.
We were getting bulk claims from carriers on working their files and everything. And at this point, I just started off residential. I'm like, I kind of know that inside and out. I know
Right.
estimate commercial, but I don't know what the business side of that looks like. So
Right.
that first 3 years, heavy residential, but
Okay.
I knew there was another piece of the pie that I wasn't even tapping.
And at that point, and you've always been based in Georgia, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so were you getting beyond Georgia as far as residential, or did
No.
you like try to start small, which makes sense? It sounds like you already had plenty of, potential right there. So
Yeah, the volume was very heavy in
yeah.
Georgia, so there was no need to be looking outside of that. But
Okay.
my inbox, I mean, when you set up a company, you're going to immediately start getting all these solicitations and
Mhm.
whatnot. And I started getting these inboxes from government saying, it looks like you are a minority contractor. Would you be interested? And they find you when they find that you're
Mm.
a business. And I'm like, oh my
Okay.
gosh, government, no, shelf it. I don't want to deal with that. No, I can't imagine what they would want. But it was repetitive all the time, getting, questions to come to their trainings and talk to us more, start off in Gwinnett County. So I happened to actually have some time and I read the email and I'm like, what would that look like?
And would
No
that be
federal.
sticking in residential for government work, or you would be not only going into government work, but you're also bridging over the gap to commercial at that point?
It would absolutely be commercial.
Commercial,
Yeah,
I figured.
yes.
Okay.
And so no plan, no thought process, just an inquiry. As you
Right.
can see, all this stuff just starts someone asking a question
Yep. Yep.
and me entertaining it.
Mhm.
So I called the number. It was the Gwinnett, Small Business Gwinnett something. I can't remember what it was. And I said, listen, I'm getting your emails constantly. What would this look like? And they said, we've got a ton of different programs. We could set you up with Georgia GPAC. They do training and mentoring. Just learn the landscape.
Mhm.
Just learn the landscape. And I found a wonderful mentor. I love her still, and we talk frequently still. And she took me by the hand and said, you can absolutely do this. I will walk you through it. And that
Oh,
is exactly what we did. We spent a lot of time together. We're family friends, things of that nature. And she sent me through training, and I started bidding governmental contracts. So much so she would go back through and redline. And
yeah.
this is a free program. So yes, we are friends, but anyone can go to Georgia GPAC and do this
Right.
and get themselves a mentor and learn the landscape of doing governmental contracting. So
Mhm.
I did that, bid a ton of bids before I got a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of practice, but in year 3.5, I won my first one. In
Hey.
Gwinnett, we did a historical building down there. And Sharon, honestly, I have not looked back since. I have not looked back since. I continue to do governmental work. And then
Mhm.
I was like, well, if you can do government, you certainly can do private sector. That's a third of what they're asking for.
Mhm.
So I have not looked back at residential since, but I do want to say this. I preface this by saying my humble beginnings are residential.
Mhm.
And my staff, we will never turn away a residential client. Folks know that we're out there for residential. So if they need our services, they'll reach out or refer someone. But I do my marketing, and my eye is very much set on the commercial sector because it's just a different beast. And I actually enjoy it. I love doing commercial grade work and
Mhm.
governmental work. So that
Right.
is our wheelhouse of what we do. But I mean, long story short, that is very much how we got there. It was someone asked a question and I took a look at it. Someone asked a question and I thought about it. Someone asked a
Mhm.
question and I started doing it.
Right. Right. Well, and the question that I remember asking you is, do you have a pink hard hat? Because if you see the person with the pink hard hat on the job site, you know that they're the boss. So
I don't
another.
have a pink hard hat, but you have intrigued my interest. So I may have to invest in doing that. And I will tell you, I am a boots on the ground kind of gal. You know,
Mhm.
we've been doing this is our 14th year, but
Okay.
I feel like your staff respects you even more when they know you've come from where they are
That's
and you
right.
can add value to what they're doing in an expert type of way. So
Right.
it's nothing for me to climb a building, get on the ladder, show up on the job site. If OSHA's there, I'm going to be there, and they know
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
And I want them to know, listen, I'm not far removed. I can do this stuff. I can speak to you about it. And so I don't ever want to be that far removed where I'm on the 15th, 16th floor of anything and people are sending me messages and I cannot relate to what's
Right.
happening in the field.
Right.
And I feel like, I mean, I've said this time and time again, if it becomes to that point where I want to be that far removed, I probably need to be thinking about something else
Move on.
because there's heart in knowing your product.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and in my past, I have been on many, many roofs. And one thing that I noticed is your facility manager that is getting you on the roof a lot of times is scared of heights. And he's just like going,
Yes.
here's your ladder, go on up. You hit that little latch when you get to the top or whatever. So have you found that's just a random question, but have you found that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Even in the
Really?
claims, even in the insurance industry. And I think they've gotten so far, I don't want to say removed, but working smarter. We'll call that working smarter, not harder. They're flying
Mhm.
drones now. They're hiring us
Right.
to go out.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are not climbing anymore. Safety reason, I think, for the company, a liability reason.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just at the desk kind of writing the bids, but they need folks that really understand the product to write them and be their eyes and ears to really write a genuine thought process or scope of what's going on. Facility
Right.
managers, property managers are absolutely the same. They're there to service the client in-house. They
Hmm.
do not want to get up on that roof. It's a safety issue.
Right.
And they haven't been trained to know what they're looking for.
Hmm.
So yeah, I will say, you know, everyone has their thing that they should be doing to service the client, but it's not their wheelhouse. So they should be hiring someone like us
Right.
that is going to go up there and tell them and be the eyes and ears for them. So yeah, they're not climbing.
No, they're not climbing. They're
They're
not.
not climbing.
Well, and if you are, what does that mean that you're true? I mean, so you can do the claims, you can look at those RFPs and respond. You know the types of damage or the types of things that you're looking at, so you know what you're quoting, blah, blah, blah. You can be the boots on the ground up there. But truly, in your day-to-day,
Yeah.
where do you spend your time?
Reviewing contracts.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, reviewing contracts, no contract. So I am owner, but I guess my operational title would be director of operations. No
Hmm.
contract is approved until I put some eyes on it and sat down with legal. So as much as I don't enjoy it, I am good at it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I know what work I want to take on versus what work is not a good fit for us.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at those very much heavy hitter. Um, I'm very much top down too. So while we have a team member of 10 in the office that work with us, we've got 7 crews. So that are
Okay.
span across the states that we work in. And all of those crews have a superintendent. Now, the field piece, managing the crews and the superintendent, that's Eric's wheelhouse, but dealing with the architects, all the paper pushing, the detailed, the OSHA stuff, all the stuff that makes everyone's head hurt. I definitely have my hands in that because I want to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. If we take on the wrong contract, it could really cost me my business, liability and all that involved. So that really is my operational piece in doing that. The marketing piece, we have someone in-house for that, but they're going to run it by me. How does this feel? Does it have the right branding? Does it have the right tone?
Right.
Another critical piece that I do is business development. I want people to know my business based on my face. I am considering bringing on, and I've been flipping a coin back and forth of maybe bringing on a BDR person, a business development person, but I never want to lose sight of people hearing my tone and seeing my face, relating it to the brand. So before I would even consider that, that person would probably have to be alongside me for a year or so, just learning how I approach things. For me, everything is relational. Sharon, it is not transactional for me at all. And I may have been your friend, 3-4 years before we actually get to the business of you needing a roof, because it's not a matter of if, it is when I'm going to be replacing your roof. But I'd rather know more about your family, your mindset, your business, and so it takes a certain mindset and understanding that business falls on relationship. I don't do business with anyone I don't like, know, and trust. So why would I expect for someone to pick my bid because it's the cheapest and do business with me? I want you to do business because you're doing it with me.
That's right. And when you say it's the cheapest, I mean, there's a lot of zeros when it comes to commercial roofing. And so that does require a lot of trust. But it's interesting that you say that about, like, if you did bring on a business development person and like how you would go about that tutelage, if you will, and bringing them up to speed. But it's great to hear like that is kind of your mindset throughout the organization. You mentioned having different crews in the different states that you represent. Each one of them has a crew leader, if I heard you right. And, I know we have talked in the past about the fact that, I had had crews in the past and, we would be, one phone call away, but they didn't necessarily have that person on site. And so they did not have someone to advocate for them. And so inevitably, that's where problems arise. You can have, these people that are perfectly trained, they know exactly what they're doing, but it's just that they don't know how to interact with the owner or whoever happens to be on site. And then something happens and they're going, how do I handle this? And so for you to actually put those processes in place. I mean, I don't know that I have a question going on here. I'm just basically saying kudos. And it's great that seems to be how you are setting up all the different facets of your business.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the reason why we have a crew superintendent with every crew is we learned this very early on doing commercial. It becomes a wish list very quickly. So we have these specifications that are very finite. I mean, when they draft these plans, Sharon, they're to the T. You're going to do this at this time, this at this time, this has to be laid this way. And so our contract is in agreement that we will abide exactly by how the engineer and architect designed this thing to be. But what happens is the property owner or even their project managers sees it in progress and says, you know what if we did it this way? I think this
While you're here, could you and it's that that gets you into trouble every time.
It is. And while in their mind, they're thinking that might be a better flow, there was absolutely a reasoning when they built the specifications of why they wanted this building to look this particular way. And don't even get me started on historical buildings. They have to be, you cannot deviate. That's the whole, can of worms that you're opening. So having the crew superintendent there, because they could go over to the crew and say, I want you to do that TPO at, 17.5 centimeters off of so-and-so. And the crew they'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll do it. And it's like, no. And now the onus is on me.
Yeah.
Well, your crew did it. And then the property owners are saying, but that's not what we told you to do. This is what the specifications did. Did we do a change order? So
Right.
our superintendent there is to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we do end up changing it because it was a wonderful thought, but there's a
Right.
round table that has to happen.
Exactly.
In order to approve that, change orders need to be written, documentation has to be presented before
Right.
we make those large scale changes, because it may be small in their mind, but I'm sure there's always a big price tag that's behind it, and the owner is not going to be pleased.
Right. Right. Well, and that is a perfect segue into, and I don't mean like an issue on a job site, but I mean just throughout your career as things progressed from being in the bridal world to being in insurance to being in this and to being in that. I mean, you could very easily talk about your successes and that everything was this linear, beautiful step up to the top. Up to the top, and I love how you're shaking your head. But let's talk about some things that where you went, okay, wait, I didn't sign up for this, or hold on, I'm questioning everything that like, should I have really done this? I mean, there's got to have been some areas where you're going, all right, what am I doing? So, all right, let's get some realness into the conversation.
Okay, so Sharon, we skipped a whole bucket of time.
Okay,
I just told you how we got from point A to the end of the thing.
right.
But before I got into roofing, remember I told you there was a ton of traveling that was going on in the
Yes.
insurance side of things. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and it was wearing me thin. It was really wearing me thin, but it was a wonderful job, great pay. It checked off all the boxes, but I was
Right.
worn out. I ended up getting pregnant and placed on bed rest by my doctor
Oh,
because he said,
oh.
listen, the baby's stressed. You're stressed. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm working good. Everything's wonderful. What do you mean? I feel great. He was
Right.
like, you have got to slow down. He said, and I know that you want. I'm putting you on bed rest. And I'm like, no, you can't put me
No, and
on bed rest.
that is like the kiss of death to that type A personality, right? Oh, I
No.
completely understand.
And so I asked him, I said, what is that going to require? He said, you to sit down. You cannot be jumping on these planes
Hmm.
in all these board meetings. You've got to slow it down.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe they can let me work from home on my laptop. So I presented it to my boss. He said, if the doctor says bed rest, I want you to disconnect completely. And I'm like,
Ooh.
and do what? He was like, rest.
Like,
So
my
I've got,
brain does not compute this. I don't know.
so my boss is over here saying, you're going to rest. The doctor is saying, you're going to rest. So I guess I'm going to rest.
Right.
Um, I took a time out, and there
Wow.
was, I'm about to give a plug, there was this book that had been sitting on my shelf for 5 years, Sharon.
Okay.
The name of the book is Ready Made Woman by Shante Feldham.
Okay.
Nothing else going on, so I suppose I will break the dust off of that and read it. It was an
Right.
8-week series. I pulled it off the shelf. It literally had dust on it.
Wow.
Blew it off. I said, okay, guess I'll read this thing. Popped the DVD in and went to town. It was an 8-week series. I completed it in a week because once I cracked it open, I
Right.
could not put it down. It was just, I was
Oh,
doing it throughout the night. I was like, oh, I love this. The main thing I remember about that study, they said, take out a sheet of paper, draw me a pie chart of your life.
oh,
What's happening? I drew my circle. 95% was work.
right. Right.
The little 5% left was everything else.
Right. Mm,
Family, child, husband, it's crammed into one. I
right.
just broke out in tears. I
Hmm.
said, God is not pleased. This is not balance.
It's not the way that it needs to be.
But you're not going to realize that until something or someone makes you have
Yep.
a hard pause.
That's right. You got to step back or look at it from a totally different perspective.
I did. So I was in tears and I said, oh my gosh, God is not pleased. I've got to change that. Now, one thing about me, Sharon, is when I see something is wrong, I'm very aware. Once I get in my awareness moment,
Right.
it's nothing for me to switch gears.
Mhm.
I just
Okay.
need the light bulb to shine on it, right?
Right. Get those eyes
So
open.
the light bulb was shining. I said, he's not pleased. I'm going to quit my job.
Of course you are.
So Eric comes home and I I put the sheet of paper on the table at dinner. He was like, "What is this?" He said, "And whatever it is, it's not balanced."
Oh, the pie. This is the pie chart.
This
He
is
said
the pie
it
chart.
is absolutely not balanced.
I
Yeah.
said, "That's my life." He was like, "You got to do better."
Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy.
I said, "I'll do you one better. I'm quitting my job." He said, and he laughed. He said, "You're not quitting your job."
Right.
I said, "I'm quitting my job. And then I will figure out how to make this more balanced." So call my boss. And Sharon, you and I have talked. I don't think I've told you this, have I? Any of this story? Yeah.
Not this piece of it. No.
Okay.
I am like intrigued. This
Yeah.
is
So
fabulous.
I called my boss and I said, when I called him, I took a pause and he was like, "Oh no, oh no." I said, "Oh yes."
Oh, he knew.
I said, "I'm not coming back."
Hmm.
He was like, "You are coming back and you
Mhm.
just take more time. What do you need?
Right.
Another 30 days? What do you
Right.
need? Is it childcare? What do you need?" Um, I said, "No, I'm not coming back."
Right.
He was like, "Take 60 days,
Anything.
work it out."
Hmm.
So I did. I took the 60 days. So you're saying it out of your mouth, Sharon, but you don't really believe what you're saying,
Right.
right? I
Right.
know that I need to quit my job, but
Mhm.
am I really going to quit my job?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
I have 60 days to try to fix it myself.
And we saw what you did with this 1 week of idle time. You completely go through this whole thing. Your whole life turns upside down. So 60 days. I mean, my
It's a
goodness.
lifetime for me.
I was gonna say the whole world can be turned on its head.
For sure. And so I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 60 days. I need to be absolutely certain that I'm not just doing something gut
Right.
wrench. Is this really thought through? Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and so in that interim, that's when Eric comes home talking about what if all of this is purposeful type
Hmm.
of discussion. And so the wheels are spinning,
Hmm.
but I'm not there yet to go to the dark side. Okay. Um,
Right.
I said, well, maybe if I hire a nanny, she can, make me feel better about all this and there'll be better balance. I can be more at home, all the things. So I went on this nanny adventure. I interviewed like 25 nannies, only liked two of them,
Yeah.
and I hired them. Um, so now fast forward 60 days, it's time to go back to work. I'm on my, I'm not physically back in the office, but they're doing debrief calls to bring me up to speed on everything that's been going on since I've been out.
Right.
So this is day one, Sharon, of debriefing, trying to get my mindset, get back into the gear of things. The nanny shows up and she's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing, but I'm at home and I had also worked out some arrangements where I am not going to be traveling as much either. So I'm like, I got this thing figured out. Nanny's
Right.
going to be here. I'm going to be working home like half the time. Pie chart's certainly going to shift.
Yes.
Well, the nanny goes on break at noon. She
And
didn't come back.
never comes back. I knew you were going to say that. Oh my gosh.
I'm calling her, Sharon. Call just rolling me the voicemail, rolling me the voicemail. I call the other nanny to come as backup. She didn't even answer. So I'm like, I have to be back on my calls at whatever time it was,
And this is day one.
This is day
What
one.
is happening?
I got baby in one hand and I'm on a conference call. The baby's crying. It's a mess. It's just an absolute
Oh,
mess. Trying to make it through. So after I do that for about 45 minutes, I just hang up on the call because I'm
mhm. Just
overwhelmed.
done.
I
Yes.
am done. And I look at my child and then I look up and I say, God, you could not be more clear.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
could not be more clear. I
Hmm.
get it
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Enough already.
The sledgehammer has landed right here. On top of my head. I got it.
You're not going back to that job. Figure
Mhm.
it out.
Mhm.
So I get through the day. Eric comes home. I tell him about my day. And by this time, we've been having those purposeful conversations.
Mhm.
He was like, I think it's very clear what we need to be doing. So I called my boss seriously this time and I quit. And I don't want extensions. I don't want a week. I don't want
Right.
anything. It's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's so funny. And I'm going, yeah, everything was so smooth, this little walk
No,
to the top. And you're
no.
like, okay, I got a little story to tell you right here.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so that was before you started roofing.
Yes.
And so what is the time period here? So you completely are jobless. He's
Yes.
still doing his thing. He's still estimating roofs and all of that, right? And so where did you go from there? Because clearly you did not stay a stay-at-home mom.
Oh,
Did you
well,
for a while?
I did.
You did for a while. Okay.
That was miserable. That is not for everyone. Hat kudos and hats off to the
Yep.
stay-at-home moms.
Right.
Don't you
100%.
dare. They're not, they are working
That
and
is
it doesn't
a
turn off.
no. Yeah,
There's no
that's
compensation large or big enough
right.
for that role. And I said, this is not for me. I did that for about 30 days before I threw in the can with that. And I'm like, okay, roofing
30
company
days.
starts now. I have got to get going. I
Yep.
cannot do this. I felt like
Mhm.
my brain was dripping out of my ears, just all the baby talk.
Right.
I gotta interact with some adults here.
Yep.
So yeah, that's not for me. But yeah, it was about a 30-day window before I really in the meantime, like while the baby's sleeping, I'm putting things together for the business. But before I started getting contracts and work was about a month into it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but during that time is when you really decided you were going to go into roofing? Like that is that moment, or were
Oh
you
yeah.
going? Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah. When I called and made my official designation, I knew that insurance was done and that I
Okay.
was about to start my own business. Of course, I had to figure out the specifics of that, but I knew I'm going to start my own business.
So how long until your husband joined you? Was it at the very beginning, or did he stay at the company that he was at that time?
So we got to be smart because bills need to be paid.
Agreed. Agreed.
So yes, you go over there and you do that, and
Hmm.
we'll do this.
Okay.
And I would say 3 months. I really needed him to pull into it because
Already.
a lot was going on very quickly. A lot was going on very quickly. So I needed the help.
Oh, that is so fantastic. So he joins a few months later, and then at what point did you bite the bullet and go, we actually need an employee, or like how did growth look for you?
8 months. I had a real issue with control. So I had to learn I cannot do all this stuff,
Right.
not do it well.
And not do it well. That's
I can
right.
get it done, but it's not going to be efficient. I'm not
Right.
building operational value to this.
Yep.
So I trudged on. I trudged on for about 6 months, just he and I trying to make
Mhm.
it. And um, I remember we had two projects going at a time, and Eric would be at one, I would be at the other, and then we got a third gig that came in. He's like, "Who's going to manage that one?" I said, "It's we got to hire somebody. We
Yeah.
just need to hire somebody." And so that's when we found our first crew chief. Because we were working the first two crews ourselves. We found
Ooh.
our first crew chief, and then I saw how easy that was, and I'm like, I can take on more projects the more crew chiefs I had.
Right.
So it started off with finding crew chiefs, building
Mhm.
crews, and then
Right.
the paperwork is going to drown you. So then you have to find someone to help with that. So you're almost thrust. I would have to say I was thrust into finding additional people to help. It
Right.
wasn't like, okay, I guess we should go hire this. This is the
Right.
staff itinerary that we need. It was like, no, we've got to find someone and we need to find them now.
Well, and it sounded like not only did you need to find someone right then, but you found some good people. And that is
Yes.
not an easy thing. Is there
It's not.
what's the secret sauce that you're putting on there to find your good people?
Well, I will say that culture is important. Eric and I were super particular about what we wanted this thing to feel like and how we couldn't deviate from that.
Right.
We have a family mission statement. and it kind of flows into how we handle business too. And whenever I'm interviewing, even today, Sharon, even today with interviewing and projects, I read my mission statement and it's my decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't fit, I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm okay with saying no. It's a hard boundary for me.
Okay.
And it's a rinse and repeat. So it's worked well for us. He does the same thing as well. We read our mission statement. I've got it right here in my office in front of me, and nothing, it's my guardrail. It really is.
Are
And
you
so
going to read it for us and so that we can hear what your mission statement is?
do you want to?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Our mission is to grow closer to God, support each other's dreams, and strengthen our bond through open communication and shared experiences. Guided by the word of God, we strive to lead with compassion, serve others selflessly, and build a lasting legacy of integrity and unity.
Nice.
So when I'm talking to a potential team member, crew, I look at body language. When I share my mission with them, if I get that glossed over look like I wish you would hurry up,
Like
or
whatever. Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
or they're too quick to answer, absolutely. I'm looking at all of that. If it doesn't resonate with them, like, oh, I love how you mentioned about integrity. And they can give me a story that supports how they've been integrity bound.
Right.
Those are my decision makers. If I'm looking at a project and it looks like there are going to be, 4 or 5 different companies on it, and I look at those companies and I know some things about that company, it's not a good fit for me. All money is not good money. All money is not my money. So that's just not in a good alignment for me. I'll pass on the project. I've passed on tons of projects and will continue to do so because it's got to be a long life partnership alignment. And I want folks to call me back because I did a good job and I did it with really bound character and integrity on anything that we touch. So I will share my mission statement often just to see what kind of body language I get from them in interacting. And in this business, we do something called pre-qualifications. I do want to say that, where we go through this big laundry list where we're trying to connect with general contractors, facility managers, property management companies, all the things. They have their checks and balances too, right? So while on paper we may look spectacular, after that is an interview. They're interviewing me. I'm interviewing them. And while there have been many that I've paired with, there have been just as many that I haven't for the very same reason. And I will stand by doing business that way because I haven't come this far just connecting with anyone and everything. There has to be some type of alignment going on for this thing to last long term.
Right. Oh, that is so amazing. That is so amazing. And it's interesting too. So you're talking about your people in place, processes, and how you're building out the team and the plan and all of that. But you go back to your roots where you really had some mentorship. So where does mentorship play where you are now? What do you do as far as trying to mentor any others, either that are trying to enter the field or maybe just new hires? Or do you have a plan for that? Or do you kind of just say, hey, this is something that's important to me and I do it on an individual basis?
Both, actually. So both. Mentorship is huge. So at the beginning of March was Women in Construction Week.
Yeah.
Okay. We get our own little week. And then, of course, we're in Women's History Month. So now we have our month, right? Yeah. But again, going back to how I got here, in my day and time, there was no pathway to construction.
Right.
And the needle has not moved much since. Okay. Great. So if you don't meet someone, they introduce you to the sector, it just flies right over your head. Yep. It's lucrative and it's fun. Now, I am starting to see in universities where they have construction management programs, which is wonderful. It is. But this stuff is still very new. It is. So it's about going into the elementary schools. I'm starting that young, getting involved with the STEM programs. Construction is STEM oriented.
Absolutely.
It absolutely is. We are in a program like Block Kids where they do competitive STEM. They get blocks, Legos, and they're judged on them building something that inspires that whole mindset. Going into the high schools and coming on career day and just when they see a woman that says, I'm a roofer, it's like, what?
What?
Unicorn has entered the room,
Right.
and they're intrigued. So it's a great conversation starter.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Being out and about, and I'm here, and trying to have coffee and dialogues. Yes, we do exist, and you can do this too. We've got a dear friend that just wrote a book, Dr. Irish Horsey. She wrote, You Can Be Here. It's for women. It's talking about construction.
Yep.
You can be here. You should be here. And if you don't start showing up, we're going to be non-existent.
Yep.
Women specifically, but construction pipeline overall is taking a hit in folks taking on this career. And I think electricians are seeing the same numbers, like a dwindling number of electricians coming through the pipeline and doing the work. So folks, if you want these buildings to stay up and the lights to stay on, introduce your children to the construction industry relative to this or what?
Right. And there's so many different parts of the construction industry. And, if you don't want to sling a hammer, you don't have to. You can use your mind instead of your muscle and be a big contributor to the construction industry.
It is. Construction management is layered, very heavy. I say this all the time. When I'm at the dinner table with my kids, we go through this hunt of questioning everything. When we're in the car driving, we question everything. Who put that bulb there? How did that pole get there?
Right.
Why is that window there? There's a job scope.
Yes.
Development plan behind every product that we see, hold, and touch.
Oh, that is so, so true. I was at a conference yesterday and I was sitting at the table with this man. I did not know him. We were just talking, what is your business? And he ran a manufacturing facility. And he said, well, you know how you've got like cardboard boxes and they have to have that adhesive on there to keep the pieces of the cardboard together. And so I just assumed he was a little glue dude, right? Okay.
Yes.
But no, he actually manufactured parts in order for the glue to be. And I was like, could that be any more obscure? And you just think, what? But I mean, everything has to be packaged. I mean, and if you don't have your glue and you're not able to adhere that package to, so you are exactly right. I mean, you do need to, you don't just add water and a building go up next to you. I mean, there's so many pieces that have to be done in order for that to happen.
So what I have my kids do is I say, I want you to reverse engineer that thing. If something piques your interest, just look at it, reverse engineer it. And the beauty is when you can't figure out how it got there. Who's doing that? Right. Now you're researching that. That is a job or a business, right? And so when we take the time to reverse engineer everything, you'll find this job that's beautiful that no one knows about.
Right.
It's unique and different, and off to the races you go.
Ooh, I like that. Well, and speaking of unique and different and kind of where things are going. So let's fast forward to now and think about, okay, you've done this, you've gotten residential and you've moved on to commercial and you've gotten government work and all that kind of stuff. So what's the next step? What is that next vision for the future?
Oh boy. I want to write a book.
Oh.
And I don't know what that's going to entail. It will certainly have something to do with husband and wives working together. I think there's so much fruit there. And equally important, so this is like two books that are on my mind. It's about, entrepreneurship in general. There's no blueprint to this thing.
Nope.
But there are definitely a lot of clues along the way. So without giving away what I want to do, I just want to say that if you're good at stuff, because that was one thing about me, Sharon. I found that whatever I put my mind to, I did it. I was always exceptional. I did it well. I just needed to focus on it. So I could wear all these different hats and do everything that I touched well. And I found in my business, all of those attributes, they've been purposeful, So if there's something to the women out there, if there's something that you have a passion for, you enjoy, or you're just finding that whenever I'm in this situation, I just elevate. I'm a rock star. That is a business. I'm sorry, it's a
It
business.
is.
And
It
you can
is.
either do it for a corporation, and that's fine,
And that is fine.
or you can do it for yourself and truly build legacy and branding.
Right.
And it does not have to be perfect to start, ladies.
Oh,
If you're
that
going to
is
wait on perfection,
never
just
going
sit
to
in the
happen.
line and hope you don't pass away first, because that's how long it's going to take. Just get going.
Right.
Get going and learn the building blocks while you're in it. It's so much more fun that way anyway.
Oh, it is. It is. But there's a couple of things that you're right. I mean, like men and women are wired so differently that we want every little box checked and everything done and say, okay, now I can do it. And then, but you find, such as all of a sudden I'm pregnant, blah, 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 you figure it out. And when you're thrust into that moment, you figure it out. But a lot of people will sit back, and I think it's confidence. And I think that the more that you do interact, the more that you do get mentored, ask those questions and just open your eyes to what's around you, it can give you that confidence, because you go, he isn't that smart. I can do that, or whatever it is, or what you were talking about with your passion. I love doing this. I'm going to be passionate about it. Therefore, I can find a way to turn this into something. I've just got to figure out the angle and all of that. So anyway, well, so we do need to start wrapping this up.
Okay.
So I know this is like or maybe we should just have a sleepover and just keep on talking.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sharon.
But let's talk about like just one little thing. And that is, when you do step away from being the owner and founder and operations director and RFP writer and all of that, and you just want to have an enjoyable weekend or a trip or whatever, what is it that you really like to do to say, okay, I truly can decompress if I do this? What is that?
Oh, it's reading.
It is reading.
I'm constantly reading.
Now, is that reading to learn, or do you actually every once in a while go, you know what, I just want a good mystery or whatever?
No, it's the first. Okay, so I'm a nerd. I'm sorry, Sharon. I'm a nerd. Reading is joy for me. And finding topics that I don't think I would be interested in, getting a good book around it. And I now have this newfound interest. I want to learn, though. If I'm learning, I'm having a fun time for me. That is fun for me.
Okay.
We were at an event where we did the core confidence, and I met the lady who does the dragon boating. I went and got a book on dragon boating.
And now you're going to be, I know, and we're going to see you on the Olympic circuit down the road.
This is what I'm saying, Sharon. Like, if someone mentions something and I don't know about it, I want to know more about that. So now I have a book here and I'm reading about drag boating, and I'm like, this is so cool. And that is fun for me. I'm not trying to start a business. I'm just intrigued. And now I can have a knowledgeable conversation with her. I'm going to one of her dragon boating races because I'm entertained. Yes. So that's just me. You can find me reading something weird.
Well, I thought with your background in the whole like criminal justice, I thought you were going to say mysteries, like you've got to be the one that figures out who done it, and all that stuff. So when you said that, I'm going, oh, okay, that's not where I thought you were going to go.
Well, now that you mentioned that, okay, so now you're going to laugh about this. My sorority, they make a big joke about me. I am the one who, I don't care what the series is, what the storyline is, and this holds true for you too, Sharon. I challenge the group to challenge me on this. Okay. I can tell you the whole storyline and who murdered who by episode 2.
Oh!
Challenge me, if you will. By episode 2, I can tell you end of story. I'm so good like that. So
amazing. Okay. All right. You got my brain spinning.
I win bets. I win prizes. It's my thing. Nothing has surprised me yet. So writers in the entertainment world, shoot, if you will. Right. But I can tell you by no later than episode 2, usually sooner. But give me to episode 2 to tell you exactly how this thing's going to flow and who did it.
Oh my gosh. I just love it. You know what I would love to do? I would love to put you in the room with my 82-year-old mom and like you guys break down Murder, She Wrote, because that Jessica, she's always at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I love stuff like that. I love
Oh,
stuff like that.
oh, that's so fantastic. Okay, well, when we go for our sushi date that we've been talking about doing, we're
Yes.
gonna break down some kind of episode, some sort of program. We're gonna
Yeah.
put you to the test. This is gonna be
Okay.
good. I'll
Okay.
do my homework. Well, I tell you what, if somebody's out there and they are just totally intrigued with your story, they want to get to know you and say hi, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can find me on, I hate to do this, all the social platforms. And that, of
Right.
course, that would be at the Roof Clinic. But my email address, please just reach out.
Mhm.
Tomeka, Tomeka at theroofclinic.com. Reach out. Find me on LinkedIn, the same
Mhm.
name. Connect with me. A coffee and chat is always my thing. It starts there, just having a
Yep.
conversation. Does not need to be roofing related. I'd like to get to know you, learn
Aw,
your story. And if we need to support each other, if it's a good fit, it will naturally make its way in. Let's
it
just have
will
a
happen.
conversation.
That is fantastic. So I will put a link to your LinkedIn profile in the
Yeah.
description so people can find you if they want to reach out. But
Mhm.
regardless, I knew this would be a fun conversation. Every time we're together, I need to have a little bit more of you. So this was just another little something something along the way. So thank you for being here today, taking a little time out to tell your story. This is fantastic.
Sharon, I think this podcast is necessary.
Mhm.
Thank you for feeling called to put this together and just having a place where women can powwow and reflect and have support. Thank you for having me, really. Thank you.
Oh, and we can have a little fun along the way, as a matter of fact.
That's
So
it. That's it.
all right. Well, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Empowered Women. If you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so other women leaders can benefit too. I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, suggestions, or compliments to Sharon at pinnaclestrategicadvisors.net. The Empowered Women podcast is executive produced by me, Sharon Lee. See you next time.